Yo, what's up, weirdos? What's going on, guys? What is going on? How's everybody doing? A little bit of a later live stream than usual today, eh? Yeah, figured we'd switch it up, right? An appointment I had to go to, so we're doing a later live stream. So it's all good. It's all good. Let's see what's going on out there, guys. I don't think we've done a live stream at 4:30 in the afternoon in a long time. Wow. We got a lot of news to get through. We're going to get through that, guys. First, let's hop into the chat, see what's going on out there. Paul, what's up, man? Man, a lot of negativity out there, man. Getting attacked in the comment section like no tomorrow, guys. Listen, that is one of our key metrics. You have to understand that, right? When the people, when the negative people come out and they start attacking in the comment section like crazy, you know we're getting close to a pump. We're getting close to our bottom because there's been so much pressure on these toxic people that they finally snap and they get emotional and they start, lashing out in every direction. It's a great metric to know when we're getting close to, getting that final leg down for the bottom, right? Because those are the people who get wrecked and then later they come back. It's funny because the same people, like, they find different things to attack you about. 2 weeks ago, when Bitcoin was up at the highs, right, when it was up at like 88,000, almost 89,000, they were attacking me saying, I don't know charting, I don't know what I'm talking about. And now we're down here and they got quiet and now they're finding something else to attack me about. So it's, they'll never give credit where it's due. So it doesn't mean anything when they talk, right? But they are a good metric to know when we've come. They're a good bottom indicator. So Beeves, my dude, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Bulbasaur in the house. J Money, what's up, man? Mario, April, hurry and be gone already. I got bills to pay. Hell yeah, man. Nice little bottom out in April and then up to the moon, hopefully through May and June. That would be fantastic. Amazing Coins, what's up, man? Parallel Life in the house. What's going on? Jared, what's up, man? Patience is key. Absolutely, man. Williams in the house. My dude. Cryptus. What time will the afternoon Zooms be again? Are you talking about today? I already did them today. I sent out links to everybody who I have scheduled today, and we burned through those already. Unless I missed you somehow, some way, but they will be happening on a regular basis. They happen between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Central. But going into April, the one-on-ones are actually going to happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They will be happening between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Central because we're moving the Patreon live streams to 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right. So, yeah. Quentin, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, man. Good to see you, brother. G Money. Anyone DCA today? I did. You bet your bottom dollar I did, brother. There she is, Gamma Goddess. Hope everyone's doing well. Stay calm, making the best decisions possible for this crypto market, so we can get this money. Hold the line, y'all. Over time, our time is near. Hell yeah, your boy. What's up, man? What's up, Robin? Fellow weirdos. I think I'm in the right place. Hell yeah, you are. Absolutely, man. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel grow. Costs you absolutely nothing. And yeah, it would be greatly appreciated. So go ahead and take care of that real quick. I'll give you a moment. I'll give you a moment to do that. What else do we have going on? Bruno, my dude, what's up, man? What's going on? SKS. U.S. Asia tariffs. I thought Honda was going to start factories in the U.S. Yeah, but Honda doesn't represent all of Asia, right? Right? Honda doesn't represent the all the Asian countries, right? That's Honda's one company. So yeah. And like honestly, guys, listen. I was doing some research earlier today. I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting room. And I was doing some reading. And I mean, listen, things could get worse after the second. And I mean, when I say worse, I don't mean, I mean, we're hoping to see market prices go down a little bit further so we could buy more, right? But I mean, Mexico is not threatened, but Mexico has stated clearly they will respond. China has also said that all of these countries have said there's going to be a swift response to this April 2nd tariffs, guys. It's not as I know Americans, I love you guys, but I know that you guys are under the impression right now that Trump has got all these countries in a headlock and they're all just going to tap out and stuff like that. But it's going to get worse before it gets better, guys. These countries aren't just going to roll over and pay your income taxes for you, right? It's not the way that the world works. So as much as I love what he's doing, I know it will be better in the big picture. Expect news on the 3rd from Mexico, from China, from all these other countries. There's going to be swift responses from Europe. It's not going to be as easy as you think it is, right? This is going to drag out, I think. So, Kat, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, we got a super chat. Ya boy. Soon everyone's going to be super chatting so much you'll have to have 2 super chats going. Stay positive, my brothers and sisters. Absolutely, man. Yeah, when things are down like this, super chats are few and far between, my friend. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. Greatly appreciated. I just got to find my spot again here. Greatly appreciated, man. Greatly appreciated. Shannon, what's going on? Good to see you. SKS, go to the moon figuratively. Outer space doesn't exist. There you go. Jake the Snake. Hello, Roberto. You are 10 seconds early. There you go. Always, man. Always. I like, just when you think you got all the answers, I change the questions, man. How's everybody doing, Crypto fam? Thanks again for your dropping all that knowledge. Hell yeah. At Cat Rob. Hey, everyone, what is going on? I am Jasmine. We're all Jasmine. Stay strong, Jasmine fam. Meredith, what's up, buddy? Made it, big dog. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Gary, DCA'd the last few days into Miria. I'll buy the dip all day long, baby. Hey, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Elizabeth, where have you been? Where have you been? Good to see you. Good to see you. Alt Brave fan, Rob, who's got the list going for people talking smack? We're keeping track of them. We'll just let them cry in the corner. We'll let them cry in the corner. Jordan, what's up, man? Easy says jet packs and fanny packs. Jack stacked a fanny pack. Let's go, baby. Ben, I've got close to 10K in Jasmine at the moment. Bought a little more in the past few days, and I'm waiting to see if it goes under 1 penny. Good idea, man. Lily's in the house. What's going on? All right, guys. Looks like we're caught up in the chat, so let's get into some of the news here, shall we? Real quick shout out to the channel sponsor, guys. Check out these new Decent wallets that came out today, guys. Limited edition. You got the wood panel one. You've got the silver. I really like all 3 of them. I can't choose. I think I might just order all 3 just because. Then you've got the gold, right? So I think I'm going to order all 3 of them, guys. Use my link down below. Get a fantastic deal in the description. I think it's up in the chat somewhere too, the link. So check it out, guys. These look absolutely awesome. Do not trust exchanges with your money, guys. Not your keys, not your coins. All right, so let's get into some of the news. Let's see what's going on around the space. First, let's get into an article. We got a couple of videos. We got all kinds of things going on today. Let's check it out, guys. All right, so Mr. T's crypto ties add complexity to the U.S. regulations. So the House Financial Services Chair indicates Mr. T's cryptocurrency dealings are complicating regulatory processes. The impact was discussed during a recent session in Washington. The involvement of high-profile political figures in cryptocurrency raises concerns about regulatory clarity and governance, potentially influencing market sentiment and legislative actions. Recent discussions in Washington focused on Mr. T's cryptocurrency activities and their ripple effect. These transactions raise regulatory challenges, complicating current financial oversight frameworks significantly. The House Financial Services Chair underscores the complexity added by Mr. T's dealings. They emphasized the urgent need for legislative clarity. Regulatory frameworks are being reevaluated to address these issues. French Hill, chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, remarked congressional Republicans will now pick up where we left off and work in whatever. Sorry, this writing's kind of wonky. They're going to work with the Trump administration. I said his name, damn it. The financial regulators to ensure that open hostilities from the executive branch of the past 4 years is eliminated. Here's another thing I was kind of listening to today before I continue, guys. My brain was kind of wandering there. Is that the midterms are going to be coming up, right? So something's got to give with the economy here, with the markets, because if the economy continues, if the markets continue to slide the way that they are under what Mr. T is currently doing, regardless of what his long-term plans are, he could be defanged if Republicans lose most of the primary midterms. I mean, right? That could cause a lot of friction and resistance towards what he's trying to accomplish. So he better turn these markets around in short order, because right now I was doing some reading. A lot of big money and retail investors are not happy with what's happening in the markets right now, and clearly a lot of you guys are not either. Regardless of what the plan is, a lot of people see the plan and a lot of people think it'll be better in the long term, and I'm one of those people. But the majority of people, what they see is Mr. T was promising that we were going to be doing so much winning that we wouldn't want to win anymore, and all we've been doing in the markets is losing, right? That's going to hurt him and the Republicans in the midterms if they don't start showing strength in the markets. And I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to apply enough pressure to Powell to force Powell to start cutting rates and printing money. I get it, right? But not everybody does get it. That's the problem, right? You have to remember that, crypto investors, a lot of investors, very few of them actually do research, right? They look at the markets, they're not happy, and they're going to vote a different way. It's that simple, right? So hopefully markets turn around soon. Financial markets split on political involvement. Financial analysts express concerns over the ambiguities introduced by political figures' involvement in crypto. There's a visible split in market sentiment, with stakeholders divided on potential outcomes. Experts anticipate regulatory shifts impacting financial markets. Historical trends suggest increased scrutiny on crypto-related policies. Data highlights shifting investor confidence, reflecting broader implications for the financial ecosystem. Comparisons to past political crypto involvement. Comparisons are drawn to previous high-profile crypto involvement by political figures. These events historically led to significant regulatory reevaluations, with growing calls for stringent financial oversight. Experts from Canocoin predict regulatory tightening based on historical data. They point out possible market volatility as consequences. This situation mirrors past instances of heightened scrutiny. So, will we see things tighten up for government officials when it comes to investing in crypto? I don't know why, because they sure as heck have not been eager to tighten restrictions on government officials investing and front running or using insider trading in the stock market, right? Funny how that's okay. Okay, what else do we have here? Continuing on with the economy, let's watch this video here. But first, over the top, hey Rob, I sent a message to confirm my name for the one-on-one. When you get to it, I will send. Will you send a date and time? Thanks for all. Yes, I will. Once I get into it, I just burned through like 35 DMs over on the Patreon, and I was all caught up, so I must have missed yours. Alfonso, taxes were meant to fund something, but it's out of control. A lot of waste. What he's trying to do with tariffs is level the playing field. That's the story. Yeah, that's the story. The problem with that story is that a lot of the countries already tried to come to the negotiating table to give him what he wants. He said, for example, he said that the tariffs on Canada were because he wants border tightening. And then they said, okay, well, we'll tighten the borders. And then he said, okay, well, but we're still going to give you the tariffs. Okay, so then you were lying and it wasn't about border security. You're just, at the end of the day, Alfonso, the fact of the matter is he's trying to eliminate income tax on people that make under $150,000 annually, I believe it is. And he's trying to get other countries to pay these tariffs, permanently pay these tariffs to compensate for the money that US citizens are not paying in income tax anymore. And flat out, countries like China and Russia and all these other countries are not going to pay your taxes for you, right? They're not stupid, right? So I guess that's just the way that it is at the end of the day. He says that these tariffs are to make things fair, but every time countries try to negotiate with him, all of these countries have already tried to come to the table over the last few weeks, and he has not tried to come to the table. In fact, every time a country comes to the table, he adds another tariff, right? So he's the only one who's not trying to negotiate right now or make things fair at the end of the day. Now, I'm not against him. I'm not saying that I'm against. I see what he's doing, and I think the economy will be better in the long run. So I'm not anti him or what he's doing. I'm just, let's be honest here, right? Again, the U.S. is not a victim. The U.S. is not a girl at a frat party that's been taken advantage of for the last 10 years or whatever, right? It's just not, right? It's not about being fair. It's about building the U.S. economy. And that's his job. That's his job. That's not something wrong. But let's not call it something it's not. It's not about being fair. It's about bullying around to beef up the U.S. economy. And that's fine. That's his job, right? But let's not put a dress on a pig and call it something that it's not, right? Sorry if you've been asked this a million times, but but are you still bullish on XCN? Yes, I am. Telly, what's up, man? Just DCA today, just a little bit. Let's go. Nice. Isaac, what's up, my dude? Christopher, hey, Rob, what do you think of staking? So you mean staking? I will be staking my Jasmy in the bear market, but you can't. The Jasmy wallet is not out yet for you to stake. So here we go. Bitcoin will go to $150,000 or higher, says Fundstrat's Tom Lee. Check it out, guys.
Tom Lee is head of research at Fundstrat and chief investment officer of Fundstrat Capital, as well as a CNBC contributor. At the time, I think you were talking about some of the people that work in your shop too, some of the technical people, and you were of the view that we were at least close to making a bottom. And off camera, we were talking. I said maybe in terms of timing, it was about a month early, but in terms of how far the markets actually went down, you're not off by that much. I think the S&P was down about 6%. Now looks like it's to be, if it opens where it is right now, it'll be in correction territory again, down 10. But you have the same kind of feeling for this week that some of the underpinnings are in for a real bottom, for a tradable bottom or a real bottom.
Yeah, I mean, both. I mean, if obviously it doesn't feel this way because over the weekend futures came under pressure, but we know markets are really oversold. We know that investors have had a lot of de-risking. And this week, I think into April 2nd, investors have three things on their minds. You know, one is they just don't know what the tariffs look like. They don't know if it's going to damage the economy. And I think third, many are just a little terrified of the policies of the White House. But post Wednesday, I think markets are going to have some visibility that allows us to take some of the selling pressure off. So yes, I think it's possible that instead of us breaking down here and seeing markets under further pressure, we're actually got the right pieces
buy
for
though
bottom.
into this without knowing what's on the other side of it? That is the fundamental question that people are sitting around trying to figure out today and tomorrow.
That's right. It's an interminable wait for people because it is still 3 days and they're fearful that we could have 3 days of down 2%. But I kind of agree with Larry Fink. I think the U.S. is going to come out of this okay. I mean, Brexit's an example. You know, Brexit happened and the UK economy emerged okay. It didn't have a huge recession, and the stock market did okay. So for investors today, over the weekend, we had so many thinking the economy is going to completely fall off the rails after Wednesday.
Well, people are starting to say slowing growth and persistent inflation. So you put those together and you get the stagflation. Yeah, that's death for.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of distortions of the economy now, right? Because we know people are buying cars and wine ahead of tariffs, and that's creating inflation.
Hopefully, they're not doing it the same, cars and wine.
Do you think it's pushing up our growth numbers that we're seeing at this point between retail sales and other places, or is the too small to distort things on that great of a level?
I think it's possible economists are only dialing in the negative consequences so far, but not the positive, because rates are down and gasoline's down, and there could be some pull forward of demand. So we might end up having better growth, so less stag, and maybe the inflation stuff is more distorting, and so it's not as stagflationary.
You've had some of your recent calls that turned out to be prescient, bullish calls had to do with inflation not being as bad as people feared. Is that still what you think? Because some of the numbers have at least given a head fake that maybe it's still around, and you throw in tariffs. We just heard what Goldman Sachs say, 0.5 point higher on the PCE than they thought previously, and 3.5 on the PCE is not going to allow the Fed to relax.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting because Goldman did raise their inflation forecast, but then they're talking about more rate cuts.
I know, which is because of growth concerns.
Yes, and I think we'll have a glimpse of what Fed Chair Powell's thinking, because he's speaking Friday after the jobs report. And I do think that it remains a more dovish Fed than many expect. I mean, I think that's what was revealed after the March FOMC meeting. And not that I'm saying it's going to put a reversal of markets here, but I think investors are a little too scared heading into Wednesday.
Bitcoin's testing recent near-term lows, I guess, again. It's been under 80. It's not quite there yet. It definitely is a risk-off trade, and when the NASDAQ goes down, Bitcoin seems to go down. But it also really likes the idea of more Fed rate cuts or the Fed being more lenient. So if we get that on Friday, is this a decent time to be stacking?
I think so.
You do at 80.
Yeah, I think part of this was Bitcoin seasonally was just not going to be attractive until after March ends, and now we're finally exiting March, and so I think not only is the calendar looking better, but as you're saying, Fed and central banks are easing, QT's ending. I think that with positive Washington sort of tailwinds means I think Bitcoin can do well to the end of the year.
Right. People love it when I ask you what your year-end target is on Bitcoin.
Yeah, and
makes people very excited.
Yes, and I mean,
one crazy high again.
I think it's still 150 or higher as possible. Okay. I know it doesn't feel like it, but once we get through this tariff and that agenda around tariffs, markets can look forward to things that could be positive.
Do you agree with what Larry Fink said just about the idea that the dollar could suffer as a result?
They won it.
Bitcoin, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'd say that Washington understands that too. That's why stablecoin, really getting the right sort of legislation for stablecoin is important, because in crypto, when it comes to stablecoins, the dollar is way more dominant there than it is in traditional markets. So I think you actually kind of protect the dollar with stablecoin legislation.
Do you have a viewpoint on Sorkin coin, or you don't? I've added that to my, on my crypto board.
Yeah. How's it doing?
I think it's building.
I haven't looked in a while.
I think it's building a base.
But now I think it's.
Well, it's got a strong reputation.
Thank you, sir.
The chart looks like a coiled spring. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we decide? The crazier the hair, the higher the VIX?
Yes, that's right. As the VIX peaks, then
you just let it go nuts.
Yes.
Right? You don't even try. You just come in.
Yeah.
Blow off that point, the haircut. Okay.
That's right. 70 VIX.
Normally it's ahead of research.
Awesome. That's what he wants. Mr. T right now, he wants to weaken the dollar. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So yeah. Beebs, I agree, Rob. Dress on a pig, yes. Big time. Hey, Rob, what could 5 million ZWIC turn into at the top of the bull run? Depends what the top price is, my friend. What I would do is grab a calculator and figure out what your exit price point is, and then just multiply it by the amount of tokens that you're holding. You should be fine, man. U.S. always makes money off the backs other nations. Does it? That's what makes the world go round. We have been at the beach for 4. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, there has been definitely some bad deals made over the last 4 years for sure. Yeah, Tom Lee's always pretty bullish, but he's also been accurate quite a bit. I mean, his call for the end of year last year for Bitcoin was off, but he still does have a pretty good history in terms of his picks. So, Jovan, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy. Over the top. Hey, Rob, on the Patreon, my name is Otts. Yes, I think I booked you in, didn't I? Yeah, I added you to the list for an appointment. Send me another message. Yeah, send me another message. I'll get you booked in for your one-on-one. So yeah. All right. What else do we have? Okay. More government officials in crypto. U.S. Senator buys 600K in Bitcoin via ETF. U.S. Senator David McCormick has disclosed a purchase of up to $600,000 in Bitcoin via the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. The senator's significant financial move highlights growing political interest in digital assets, potentially impacting policymaking and market dynamics. Senator McCormick from the Digital Assets Subcommittee invested between $260,000 and $600,000 in multiple Bitcoin ETF transactions. The acquisitions conducted in February and March accentuate increasing political stake in crypto. The investment marks McCormick's second ETF purchase, demonstrating his belief in Bitcoin's potential. His involvement has stirred ethical debates about political figures influencing financial markets through personal interests. Yeah, maybe you might want to go talk to people like, I don't know, Elizabeth Warren and so on before you go pointing those fingers. Market reactions have varied. While Bitcoin's trading figures remain robust, the purchase intensifies scrutiny from financial analysts and commentators. Senator McCormick's actions have raised questions regarding potential conflicts of interest in political investments. Again, I would say if we're going to move down that alley, maybe the first step towards that would be to get the SEC to investigate pretty much every single congressman and congresswoman in terms of their investments, and how did some of these senators and some of these congressmen and congresswomen, is that what they call them? How did they, on a $200,000 annual salary, become worth more than $10 million? That's what I would like to know. How about we start the investigation right about there, right? Did you know Senator McCormick's continued investment in Bitcoin ETFs mirrors similar moves by political figures in 2025, showing how digital assets influence global economic trade? Bitcoin holds a market cap of 1.64 trillion, dominating 61.38% of the market cap. We know that. CoinQ analysts highlight that McCormick's Bitcoin ETF acquisition reveal a broader trend in political figures venturing into digital assets. Absolutely. GN, don't worry, guys. Gonna go up again, and you're gonna be happy. Jasmine is the best. I agree, guys. Listen, once this whole tariff thing is put to bed, once it's behind us in the rearview mirror, I really do believe that all markets, stock market, crypto, I mean everything, right, is going to just go nuts, like you would not believe, to the upside, guys, right? Right now, things seem dreary. They seem down and in the dumps and stuff like that. But yeah, when that's in the rear view, guys, holy smokes, things are going to get crazy. That's why I personally am stocking up like crazy, in these times. Thanks for scared money don't make money, right? Another local, Rob, thanks for all the research and videos and all the gems daily. Hey, no problem, man. Because they're pulling all the strings. Absolutely. Either that or they're not paying for nothing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As an American, I'm with you. 100%, Ben. 100%. I agree with you, man. I agree with you, man. And you have every right to want that, man. You have every right to feel that way. All right, what else do we have? Crypto market volatility amid U.S.-Asia tariff tensions. So as of March 31st, Mr. T's threat to impose new tariffs on Asian countries has triggered volatility in crypto markets. China, Japan, and South Korea are coordinating their response to these potential U.S. tariffs. The development significantly impacts crypto markets, inciting investor caution and altering the market's recent trajectory. The reaction underscores the vulnerability of digital currencies to geopolitical tensions. The crypto market is experiencing significant volatility due to the geopolitical tensions sparked by potential US tariff extensions across key Asian economies. Amid these uncertainties, the price of Bitcoin dipped to $82,687, marking a 2% decline. Mr. T, former U.S. president, has issued. He's the current U.S. president. I don't know why it says former. Has issued threats of new tariffs, prompting a coordinated response from the trade ministers of China, Japan, and South Korea. They aim to strengthen their supply chains and negotiate a new free trade agreement. The immediate impact of the crypto market includes a noticeable loss in various cryptocurrencies such as XRP, ADA, and Solana. Despite this, institutional investors remain active, suggesting confidence in long-term prospects. The Fear and Greed Index has reflected market cautiousness. Unfortunately, no direct quotes from crypto's key opinion leaders have surfaced regarding the ongoing tariff tensions. However, current market sentiment remains in the fear. Politically, the tariffs threats affect international relations and economic strategies. The trio plans more economic cooperation to counter possible negative impacts. This could alter global trade and potentially ripple into further crypto market volatility. Continued institutional interest suggests eventual market resilience. Historically, geopolitical strains have driven Bitcoin demand as a safe haven. The ongoing increased accumulation of Bitcoin by major players aligns with past patterns during similar geopolitical events, as noted in industry analysis on market trends. So I said this probably about a week ago, guys, when he introduced, probably not even a week ago, when he introduced tariffs on automobiles, and then the next day he introduced tariffs on pharmaceuticals. I said, look, a lot of times in life, you come into certain situations with leverage, right? But what usually ends up happening is when people overplay their hand and they abuse the leverage that they have, eventually the other parties say, you know what? Dealing with you and what you're doing with your leverage is worse than just not dealing with you at all and creating our own thing over here, right? So you have to be careful when you have leverage, because what ends up happening, like I said, if you end up using the leverage to create a worse scenario than it would be with the other way, well, then the other parties just walk away from the table and you're screwed. And that's what we're seeing right now happening. We're seeing the Asian countries renegotiating with themselves, South Korea, Japan, and China, to altering their trade markets to kind of prepare to not deal with the United States anymore, right? So, like I said, you overplay your hand when you introduce a tariff, and then people say, okay, well, let's negotiate, and then you say, no, I don't want to negotiate. Well, then they're like, okay, see you later. We're just gonna take our ball and go home, right? So it's high risk, high reward what he's trying to do here, guys. Other countries, the rest of the world could end up just saying, you know what? We'll all just deal with each other and you're on your own, right? That could happen. You got to be careful when you have leverage. You cannot overplay your hand. Got my decent wall today. Nice, nice, nice. Happy Manic Monday. I have my dry powder. Nice, ready to go. Like you said, there you go, man. Tariff tax, what's the difference? It's going to cost everyone more. Let's see what happens in the next 90 days. Either we're all going to be winning or not. You know, in the long run, Alfonso, I think that, like I said, in the big picture, everything's going to work out for the best in terms of the markets. I do believe that. Once the tariff things are in the rearview mirror and stuff, I do believe that, you know, we're all going to win. Everyone who's not being shaken out, not being scared, everyone who's, you know, continuing to stay true to their convictions and their investments, I think will win in the end, right? I think we'll all come out of this when the dust settles looking good. So that's kind of how I see it. Got a little video here from Moonwell before we continue on. Check this out, guys. Love Moonwell, guys. Getting paid shouldn't be limited by borders, guys. Love Moonwell in the decentralized finance sphere.
So we're really passionate about bringing this sort of paycheck to payments experience to users of Moonwell and to people on base. What we want to really enable is for people that live, you know, in the U.S. or outside the U.S. to get paid by U.S. companies, receive stablecoins in your wallet on base, and then be able to deposit those into a Moonwell vault that supplies borrowable USDC to the Coinbase borrowers that are borrowing against their Bitcoin. And so with the marriage of on-chain products to CeFi products, like Coinbase, you can start to see the beginnings of this new ecosystem happening where Coinbase Bitcoin holders on their retail app can now borrow against their Bitcoin. They can borrow USDC on base, and now they can shop in the real world. So we're really passionate about
love it, guys. I am
payments experience.
Very bullish on Moonwell. It is in the Glimmer Moonbeam ecosystem. Another gem that we picked out a long time ago over on the Patreon, guys. Fantastic. What do we got? Carlos, hey, coach, thanks for keeping it real. Hey, I got you, man. I got you, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here. All right, assessing Bitcoin's price potential through global money supply insights. Before I continue, though, guys, I want to make it clear because I know a lot of people are going to take some of the opinions that I've expressed here in terms of what Mr. T is doing, like I'm anti-him or something, and I'm actually very pro-him, as most of you know who have been here for a while, that I am extremely pro-him, and I do believe that, you know, it'll pay off in the big picture. I just try to play devil's advocate, okay? So just to be clear on that, I'm not anti Mr. T, to be clear. I'm pro Mr. T. Assessing Bitcoin's price potential through global money supply insights. So we do this, we cover this a lot over on the Patreon, guys. We cover the M2 money supply and how it affects the markets and stuff. The host of a popular YouTube channel, Invest Answers, presents intriguing predictions regarding Bitcoin's potential price movements in a recent video. By examining factors such as the Bitcoin's current market value, circulating supply, and the number of lost coins, the video scrutinizes the likelihood of a new money supply flowing into Bitcoin. This approach lays out potential price target scenarios that could emerge during market corrections. The host aims to educate investors with cautious forecasts, steering clear of excessive optimism. According to the method used in the analysis, a minor percentage of the world's M2 money supply shifting to Bitcoin could result in significant price increases. For instance, if only 0.5% of this new money supply were to flow into Bitcoin, the price could reach approximately $115,000. Just 0.5%, guys. The model indicates that there is 15 million Bitcoin in circulation, with 5 million considered lost. The calculations are made in relation to the current market value. When they say lost, guys, what they mean by that is, like Satoshi's wallet, people who have owned Bitcoin and passed away and lost the keys forever, people who bought Bitcoin years ago and, thought it was nothing. They bought it like, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, thought it was never going to do anything. Like there was, for example, there was like classes going on, I think in like Harvard and stuff like that when Bitcoin was new back in like 2011, 2012, 2013. And they were actually studying. So every student in the class got one Bitcoin, and their job was to kind of study it and, make a presentation on it and stuff like that. All that Bitcoin gone forever, right? Lost, gone forever. So the Invest Answers host also considered more extreme scenarios. If 1% of these new assets were to flow into Bitcoin, he suggests that BTC could soar to $146,000. However, he noted that while such predictions are within the realm of possibility, they remain overly optimistic. He emphasized that his approach relies on the assumptions ranging from 0.25% to 0.5%. This approach is shaped not only by market dynamics, but also by global economic developments and the behaviors of nation states, particularly the scenario of countries suggesting with inflation creating a new currency to invest in Bitcoin could significantly impact target prices. So here's something I've talked about quite a bit in the past, guys, and I just lost it, so never mind. It'll come back to me. Yes. I've talked about this. Now, I see a lot of people calling for like a $250,000 Bitcoin, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 Bitcoin this cycle. My top target for Bitcoin in this bull run is only between $150,000 and $180,000 tops, right? And a lot of people say, well, that's not very, bullish. That is extremely bullish, guys. The problem is you're comparing that price to where we are right now, not to where we were at the bottom of the bear market. For Bitcoin to go from $15,000 to $180,000 in one 4-year cycle, that is a hell of a return on Bitcoin, right? A hell of a return. So, yeah, when you put it into that perspective, it's not that, it's not that bearish anymore, is it? Right? To think about that. The problem is the people who are buying, it only sounds bearish because there's people who are buying at these prices and we're not buying when it was $15,000, right? So it's all about perspective, guys. I think that $150,000 to $180,000 is probably, pretty close to the top in my opinion. We might wick up a little bit higher, but that's my target tops. And you have to understand that in every cycle, every 4-year cycle, there's people who overestimate how high the price can go. In the last bull run, people were calling for $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 Bitcoin. We only got to $69,000 Bitcoin. But so people are like, oh, that was a bad 4-year cycle. Didn't go as high as, well, no, because I think the low on Bitcoin was what, $3,000? So to go from $3,000 to $69,000, again, a monster return, right? So the problem is people compare the top to where they're buying in, not to where the bottom was, right? It's all about perspective. Another noteworthy point highlighted in the video is the potential interest of nations in Bitcoin. The host discussed the possibility that some governments might print their own money to purchase Bitcoin, suggesting that if this occurs, price predictions might be revised significantly upward. Such developments could shape the market through political and strategic maneuvers beyond the classic supply and demand balance. Interesting concept, because I know that it was suggested that the US just print the money to buy 1 million Bitcoin or something like that, right? And I think it was largely shot down, but that doesn't mean that other countries might not do that, or might do that. That doesn't mean that like China won't do that, or like wherever, right? Japan, whomever, that might just print that money off to buy Bitcoin and hold it, right? It's entirely realistic. Eventually, you would think somebody's going to do that, right? It's got to be at least one country that's going to do it. maybe El Salvador, right? They've already using it as a legal currency. Invest Answers host stated that he has consistently regarded a range of 119,000 to 120,000 as a reasonable target. However, he cautioned that investors should not focus solely on single targets, referencing the market's history of surprises. He also noted that while various analysts propose much higher targets, these often lack a solid foundation. The systematic approach to underlying this model presents an unconventional method for generating predictions within cryptocurrency. By linking the macroeconomic factors like global money supply and the world of digital currencies, it demonstrates that price targets can be evaluated not only through technical analysis, but also through broader economic parameters. And also, guys, just so that you know, if Bitcoin does top, even 120, 125,000, 150, 180,000, you might sit there and think it doesn't sound like very high from where we are. That doesn't mean that altcoins still are not going to go ballistic. You have to remember that altcoins, in altcoin season, after Bitcoin tops, altcoins vastly outperform what Bitcoin does because of the market cap, right? So you have to remember that altcoins are still going to go absolutely berserk. So keep that in mind. Hey Rob, what do you think of the project Walrus? Would you invest in this project? Actually, Derek, that's one that I've been meaning to look into. I haven't looked too much into it yet, but from what I've seen so far, I am bullish on it, but let me do more work. Tyler, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Squirtle's in the house, was switched over to YouTube. I don't think my comments on X went through. No, I didn't see any comments from X from you. Just letting you know here. Thank you so much, Green Tea. Charmander's in the house too. Look at that. Boom. We got Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. We got no Pikachu, man. We got no Pikachu. Carlos, what happens if big things are popping, but little things aren't stopping? Then we stop them. I'd take a 50-cent Moonwell, please, and thank you. Hell yeah. That'd be fantastic. And that's the beauty is that that's pretty conservative as well, right? So absolutely. And I'll finish things off with this here, guys. Congressman Begich says the U.S. will be buying 1 million Bitcoin soon.
Bitcoin Act establishes the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, a federal initiative to ensure that the United States holds a meaningful position in the most important decentralized financial network on Earth. With an eye to fiscal responsibility and innovation, the legislation outlines a plan to phase in the acquisition of up to 1 million Bitcoin, or roughly 5% of its total final supply over 5 years. Importantly, this will be done without raising taxes or increasing government debt. The Bitcoin Act is designed to be budget neutral, relying on Federal Reserve remittances, which exceeded $76 billion in 2023, gold certificate revaluations, unlocking additional capital without new spending, and updates to the Exchange Stabilization Fund. These mechanisms allow us to build a strategic reserve without burdening taxpayers, while also potentially offsetting long-term national debt. Bitcoin Act.
Boom. So they will be purchasing Bitcoin, guys. Absolutely. Danny, my dude, what's up, man? J29 Nation. What do you think, Zebek, in 3 months from now, the price prediction? I could see 1 to 2 cents. I hope 1 to 2 cents. Matt, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All right, guys. Well, listen, let's have a look at Bitcoin again here. What's a chart looking like? Looking red, guys. We got the daily close and the monthly close. That's a big one, guys. We got the monthly close happening tonight. I will be live again in about 3 hours here on YouTube. So make sure you're here. We're going to cover the monthly close. We're going to look at the aftermath of that because the monthly close is in about a little under 2 hours. So we're going to cover that later, guys. Make sure you guys are here. Carlos, I picked up some more Miria and XCN last night. Nice. There you go, brother. There you go. So yes. So absolutely, guys. Be here tonight. Also, after that, we will be live over on the Patreon. Get over there, guys. Listen, if you're new to crypto, if you're holding a whole bunch of projects, you don't know if you're over diversified, you don't know when you're going to be exiting the market and stuff like that, guys. If you need a plan, if you want to sit down, get over to the Patreon. book a one-on-one coaching call with me personally, guys. We'll sit down privately, one-on-one. We'll have a look at your portfolio. We'll help you consolidate it, maximize its potential ROI. You got about 5 or 6 weeks, in my opinion, before things start to move back up again. So let's use that time wisely. Let's get your portfolio in shape. Let's figure out where you should be on everything, guys. Book your one-on-one. There's no charge for it. So check it out. The link is over on the page. The link is in the chat. It's in the pinned comments. It's in the description. Get over to the Patreon, guys. We also have our top pick videos over there. I'm also doing I'm dropping another video over there today as well. It's an educational video breaking down CPI. If you need help understanding how these markets work, come on over, guys. Check it out. We are one of the largest communities in crypto and very, very proud of it. So click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in about 3 hours.